And ladies and gentlemen, what is going on, everybody?
Finally.
Fine. Here we are. Stop the intro. I may cut that down to 2 minutes, man, to be honest with you. 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's 5 minutes is a long intro, bro. I was sitting here like, have we started yet?
There are times where I'll like set that intro to go and then I'll like go get another cup of coffee or something, but not today. I definitely
Yeah.
made it shorter today. But we'll make it shorter moving forward. Dylan, I can hear you good. You can hear me good. Hey, we're getting it popping, man. The Day Zero Training Podcast. We're back, rocking and rolling on a different day than usual. It's Thursday today, man. Usually we've been doing these on Sundays. So apologies to anybody who has been waiting for these on Sundays. We're doing it on Tuesday. We're making it work. Both of us are pretty busy people. So, hey, man, we're making it work. We're getting it done. Lots of stuff been going on the past couple weeks with us, both of us. I know you've been working a lot, Dylan. I've been working a lot. I was out of town as well. I was doing the Spartan race. Which we talked about a little bit. I was out there in Arizona. It was a fun time, man. It was a fun time. But before we jump into that, we'll talk about that in a second. I just want to shout out real quick the boys over at the ITT. If you guys are watching on X, formerly known as Twitter, listen. Saturdays, 2 p.m., Mountain Standard Time. The boys are rocking and rolling. Josh, Mattia, Kevin, they're all rocking and rolling over there at the Innovators Think Tank. If you guys got a project, anything you want to share with the world, you want to pitch, you want to get some feedback, you want to learn about communication, leadership, anything like that, man, that's the place to do it. Head over to X, Innovators Think Tank. Go check out Josh Hellman, Mattia Cominelli, and Cash Money Kev. Those guys are running it up over there. Fantastic. Every week as usual. They haven't missed a week, man. They're almost at a whole year. That's just crazy. They've been running it every Saturday, at usually 7 hours. I'd say average about 7 to 8 hours. These guys are insane. Absolute powerhouses. Go over there. Check them out. They're doing some incredible stuff. Over here on the Day Zero side, we're moving a little bit slow at the beginning of this year. That's all right. We've got some episodes. If you guys want to check out the older episodes that we recorded towards the end of last year and the beginning of this year, you guys can go to YouTube. You guys can go to Spotify. Check out all those episodes. Man, Dylan, what else you got to say, man? Welcome in, man. Good to see you.
Yeah, man. Just good to be back. Obviously, it's been a couple of weeks. Like I said, as we've both gotten busy between work and YouTube announcements and different kind of stuff like that, I've been flat out. So been a little bit quiet on the Day Zero front, doing a lot of my own fitness content again now too. So it's just one more thing added to the pile. My TikTok started to make some moves again, which is really nice. So just been building that up, and obviously you've had your own stuff going on too, so we kind of stepped away from the podcast for a couple of weeks there. You obviously were away for the Spartan race and stuff too, so we couldn't exactly do a podcast while you were out there. So it's good to be back, like get into some things and go through it all. Obviously this week on visualization, I don't know if you mentioned that at the start, but it'll be good. It's honestly a really interesting topic because it's something that I've used pretty much throughout my whole life, being almost 30, not quite 30, but almost 30. I've used it since I was a kid. Like, I think that's the thing, is anyone that's looking to be successful in any sector of their life will understand or needs to understand visualization and how it can help. I know some people think it's bullshit, but it actually can be a legitimate help for you, even if it's just recentering and refocusing. So really interesting topic to come back to after a little bit of time off, and I'm pretty keen to jump into it, honestly.
Yeah, man, for sure. And I kind of wanted to choose this topic to come back to kind of kick things back off, because I think, and I utilize this tool with some of my clients, it's very important to understand that, like, utilizing this tool, utilizing visualization can really yield real results in the gym. And that it's hard to, like, that's not a tangible thing, right? It's really not a tangible thing. It's not like you put X amount of weight on the bar, which results in X amount of performance and X amount of reps. Like, those things are very tangible, but something like visualization, it's hard to approach, right? How do we really do it? How do we actually implement it into our training routines? And so we kind of wanted to dive into some of that stuff today. This kind of topic, it was sparked by a conversation I was having with one of my buddies, and and we were just talking about kind of priming ourselves and getting ourselves ready and proactively preparing for reactive situations, and it kind of got on this road of visualization. So yeah, man, I kind of wanted to start with Dylan, when you hear that word, visualization, you have more of a sports background than I do, right?
Mhm.
Actually, as a
Yeah.
player, and you said you've been kind of using that as a kid. When you hear visualization, what are some of the first things that pop into your head, and why do you think that it's so important that we spend time even in that realm?
Yeah, well, I mean, visualization can be important in so many different ways. I think the biggest one, you know, as somebody that's used it in the past through sports, is knowing where you want to get to and knowing the things you need to do to get there. So that can one be, you know, say you're trying to make it into college basketball, which is the example that I'll use because that was mine. You know, visualization was getting the acceptance letter and flying out there and you know starting at a school and doing those things. Like that was my through high school. That was my visualization. Was I'm gonna be there. Like I'm gonna do that. What do I need to do to get there? And that would always, if I was ever feeling like down or not wanting to go and work out or whatever it might have been, like that was kind of what helped me get there. But then on more of an instant perspective was during a game. If like I was always a shooter, so you know if I'd missed a couple of threes early on in the game, I needed to sit down, refocus, like visualizing the ball actually going in and where I needed to be aiming for, and those kind of things. That form of visualization was more of an instant versus the future visualization. So there's a couple of examples um, how I've used it in the past, and it's the same as um, I guess YouTube in a sense, like visualizing what it'll be like when I hit X amount of subscribers, or visualizing what it looks like to put out a certain type of video and have it do well as probably another instant one is I've started running recently, which you'd be happy to hear.
Yeah, that's
Um, which is very new
woo.
for me. Like since
Whoa.
my basketball days, what ended 5 years ago.
Hmm.
I haven't done much form of cardio or running or anything. So visualization for me is, you know, knowing I can run X amount of kilometers, I guess miles for you. You know, visualizing what that looks like, understanding that I've done it before and I can do it again. And, you know, just having we've spoken about mental barriers previously on the podcast. It's one of those things where visualizing yourself running to a certain distance is something that can help you actually get through the run.
Hmm.
Because there'll be times where your knees start feeling bad, your hips start feeling tight, your quads are feeling tight, your ankles start to feel funny, like, but you're only like half a mile in, you know what I mean? And you're like, nah, like I like the visualizations, like I can see myself getting to the 3 mile point, the 5 mile point, whatever. Like I know I can get to there. I've just
Hmm.
got to get through this initial like phase of oh my legs don't feel great or whatever. So um visualization can honestly be used in so many different ways.
Hmm.
And I'm sure you've got your own examples, but yeah, for me the biggest ones were like during my sports days,
Hmm.
you know, visualizing where I wanted to be and how I was going to get there. So
Yeah, that's sweet, man. I love kind of how you touched on like there's like almost a long-term visualization and a short-term visualization, and it's not just
Mm,
like a linear one-time thing, right? It's a continuous thing that you
mm,
implement into your and you think about into your training. Um, I wanted to. There's something that you touched on that I want to kind of continue with. Before we continue with that, we talked briefly about visualization in a previous podcast, and there was a comment that just stuck out to me. Do you remember that TikTok comment? It said, if I close my eyes right after I wake up,
oh yeah, I'm a
I'm gonna
fall back
I'm
asleep.
gonna fall back asleep. I read that comment the other day and I
Yeah.
was dying. I was like
Yeah, I do remember that. That's funny.
I was like, I mean, I guess. I mean, if sure.
That's why I say
Uh,
I responded back to it. I was like, go get some coffee first.
maybe caffeine before visualization is the way to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but I think you touched on something really important there, which is the fact that a lot of times it's easy to talk about and it's pretty easy for us to
Mm,
kind of sit here and discuss just visualization as a whole. I think it
mm,
really comes in when, and this kind of works hand in hand with accountability and discipline and just work ethic. when
Yeah.
your knees start to hurt, when you're 2 miles in and the run doesn't feel as good, or when you're 5 miles in and the run doesn't feel as good, or when you're in the middle of a workout and you just want to leave the gym, like those kinds of things. That's where you implement this stuff, right? That's where you're very tested, and that's where you kind of see what you're made of. So it's easy for us to
Mm.
talk about it and sit down and talk about it, and for anybody listening to listen to these clips and to these audio bites and say, oh, I'll just kind of sit in my room and think about it, and then I can go do it. Well, you still got to go do it, right? And that's kind of the second piece of visualization. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But yeah, I think for me, it was always about a lot of my visualization, and this is subconsciously and consciously, I think, especially when I was like prepping for, I wasn't really prepping, but when I was working with a bodybuilding coach, was that moment on stage where I was gonna, shine and show off exactly what I've been
Mm.
working on for so long, right? That was kind of the goal, right? We see
Yeah.
you, Ozzy Kings.
Ozzy in the chat,
Come
my
on, you
guy.
you
What's up,
king,
legend?
bro. You king, bro. What's up, man? What's good? What's good? Hey, welcome in, boss. Welcome in. It's good to see you, man.
We
Been
love you.
been a minute, but we love you, bro. We love you. Um, yeah. So that was kind of the moment for me. Specifically, was that moment where I step on stage and I show like, yeah, like all this, like it was worth it, Um, and when I run through onboarding calls with clients, um, we talk about their goals and we talk about what that looks like, and maybe a little bit of a timeline of their goals, and then we get right into the emotion of it. I always speak to people and say, "This is a human business, right? These are human experiences, right?" And so that's I think the root of fitness, and that's where we need to start. Um, I've also used visualization. To get through runs, kind of like what you were saying. I feel like I use it a lot in the gym,
Mm.
right before a set, and that's where you're kind of talking about that. That mic
Every
stand,
time, bro. My mic is
man.
every
um,
week.
that I feel like I use it like you're saying you're in the middle of a game and you think in your head. You don't even have to close your eyes, but you're just thinking
No,
about it, right? That's the thing at
to
the forefront of your
refocus.
mind. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Refocus. That's a great word. Um, Use it a lot doing going on heavier lifts, right? I want to get that 6 reps. I think about six, right? I think about 8 reps, 8 reps, 8 reps, 8 reps, 4 reps, 4 reps, whatever it is. I
Mm.
visualize myself picking up the weight before I actually do it. I think bench press is the first thing that comes to my mind, kind of when I'm thinking about pushing boundaries and stuff like that. Squat as well.
Mm.
You just envision yourself doing it right before you do it. And there's studies you kind of we talked about at the beginning how it's kind of hard to really grasp like fictional is not the right word, tangible, an intangible
Mm.
idea, kind of like this visualization. So I just wanted to read a little bit of a excerpt from a study that I found. And this study was from 2020, done by Janet Hayes and Zach Turner, in Lexington, Kentucky. And the title of the study is Positive Visualization and Its Effects on Strength Training. Um, and so I'll just read a little excerpt from this, and then we can kind of discuss it. I definitely want to hear your thoughts about it. So student athletes were asked to positively visualize themselves performing lifts that they physically executed. This is important. Executed frequently in their training regimen. So bench press, back squat, clean, or deadlift. A directionality analysis demonstrated that compared to athletes who did not visualize, participants who positively visualized had a significant increase in weight moved during a lift. The positively visualizing group demonstrated a 10 to 15 increase in weight moved, 10 to 15 pound increase in weight moved, while the control group only demonstrated a 5 pound increase. This suggests that athletes are more successful when incorporating positive visualization into their training. Power movements, clean, for example, clean dramatically increased, suggesting a follow up study specific to type of muscle development and movement. So there's definitely nuances, just like in any type of study, right? But the general consensus through this study was that visualization positively affected the results of what the athletes were doing. Um,
Mm.
So yeah, Dylan, I kind of want to hear your thoughts on that, bro, because I think, I mean, it's overwhelming evidence. I mean, 10 to 15 pounds, that's a large weight increase. And the reason I pointed out frequently is an important word is because these are not beginner athletes. These are athletes who have been doing it for a long time. And we
Mm.
see in a lot of those athletes, their performance is kind of like this, right? Right. It increases very quickly. You start to implement proper nutrition, recovery training. It increases very quickly and then it kind of dies off. Right. And we talked about that in
Mm.
our episode about RPE and implementing those
Yeah.
tools to break through barriers. So what do you think about that, bro?
Yeah, I mean, going from the student athlete perspective, I mean, I can fully relate to that because essentially that was where I was back in 2017. So, um, the visualization part of seeing extra performance increase in the group that did practice positive visualization, um, I can say it. I don't know, obviously, the science behind it, but I can safely say that, you know, lifts in the gym can come down to your mental or your mindset in the gym as well. So, if you're practicing positive reinforcement or positive visualization, you're in a better mindset to perform the lift. Whereas, if you're wondering whether you can do it or unsure if you're going to do it, that's going to cause you to hesitate. That's going to cause you to, um, you know, not be in the right mindset when you go to perform the lift. So those people that aren't practicing the positive visualization are already at a disadvantage, essentially.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, if you're going into, I don't know, attempt a 225 bench for the first time. If you're going in there going, I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't do this, you're probably not going to do it. But if like if you've been training hard and you're close and the work has supported your training up to that point. Like I'm not saying if your max is 100 pounds and then you throw 225 on, you just say I can do it, I'm going to do it, and then do it. That's not how it
Don't do
works.
that.
But like,
Please
don't
don't do
do
that.
that. That's how you hurt yourself.
Don't do that.
But
You're
like,
gonna get hurt.
if you've been training up to a point where you're close to 225 and that's going to be your next achievable goal, right? We talk about achievable goals all the time, and you're close. Like say you've been doing 200 for 2 to 3 reps and you
Mm-hmm.
feel like, okay, like today we're going to 1 RM and try and hit 225. Like, that's kind of the point where if you're talking negatively to yourself in your own head and you're going to psych yourself out.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to perform as best as you should. Whereas if you go, yep, sweet, I've got this. It's easy. Like I've put in the work. I've been doing 210 for the last 2-3 weeks. I can hit 225. Like I can do that. And then like, that's why also having a gym partner can be good as well, because your gym partner is going to push you to be like, you got this. Like you can lift. Like your gym partner, and if they're a good gym partner, should never be like, don't do that. You're not going to do that. Like your gym partner should encourage you if they know where your kind of level of experience and lift is. Like obviously if your gym partner tells you not to do it, if your max is 100 and you're looking at 225, then cool. But if they're working out with you and they've seen you do 200, 205, 210, like the last couple of weeks, I'd be pushing my gym partner to go, hey, like you're pretty close to 225. Like let's look at getting that done, because I think you can do it. I think you're there. And that's one thing, like when you and I trained together, the one workout in our lifetime of 5 years, 6, 7 years knowing each other, the one workout we've done together when we were in the same country, we did a leg session and it was grueling. Like it was tough.
Yeah,
but
that's pretty intense.
Not only like visualization aside, having someone else to put you in the right mental perspective and the right mindset to perform certain exercises is going to see an improvement. It's going to take having a good gym partner will take the negative visualization away, because you've got positive reinforcement going in one ear, which should be sending the negative out the other ear. And if you don't have a gym partner that's doing that, then one, you either need a new gym partner or you need to go train alone.
Yeah,
and I think it's very, very important to understand that, like, you're only limited by your own mindset. And if someone's not positively contributing to that mindset, then they should not be in your vicinity.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. I love that. And when you know, if you recognize that you're in that situation, or you just want to, you you recognize that you need to make a change by yourself, right? Maybe you don't have a gym partner. I know that I'm all over the place, so I don't have like a consistent gym partner all the
I
time.
don't either.
Sometimes I
Yeah.
train at 5:30 in the morning. Sometimes I'm training at 7:30 at night. Like, just doesn't work out right now. Um, and so one thing that I would encourage anybody to do who's trying to find that mental fortitude to continue going to the gym or to push past some barriers or something like that, is to interrupt yourself and make a change in your language. So practice the next time that you don't want to go to the gym, which just happened to me the other day. I did not want to go to the gym. I was exhausted. I was tired. I woke up at 5:30 and I didn't want to get out of bed. All I wanted to do was watch Instagram reels and lay in bed till I had to go to work.
The
I didn't
biggest
want to do anything.
distraction too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
huge distraction. But I had to interrupt myself because I was making a decision that was poor for my health. I knew I had to go to the gym, man. You got to go to the gym, right? You
Mm.
make that commitment to yourself. You get a good night's sleep the night before. You're doing a disservice to yourself if you don't. And so I had to interrupt myself and I had to say, yo, this is wrong. This is not good. This is not where I want to be. So I just deleted Instagram, went to the gym.
Sick. I like that.
And it's like Instagram's still off my phone right now. You know what I mean? And I'm
Mm.
not saying everybody has to go that direction or go down that road, but um, and I don't think what I'm saying right now is by any means revolutionary or game changing. But if you're able to speak to yourself in a different way instead of I can't do that, or I can't do that lift, or I can't run those 3 miles, tell yourself you can. It's
Mm.
better to be delusional than to never try at all, right? In my opinion. And so, um, if you can tell yourself that you can go do that, you can go lift, you aren't that tired, you got a great night's sleep last night, and you have to fuel your body properly. Telling yourself, we're talking about positive reinforcement from a gym partner, practicing that within yourself too is really, really important. That's going to set you up for a lot of success in the gym. And you're not going to see it right away because it's not an overnight thing, right? You can't make
Mm.
a mindset shift like this overnight. It takes practice, just like anything else, just like lifting heavier in the gym. We talk about progressive overload, right? All these ideas and all these concepts kind of flow into each other, and can lead to astounding amounts of success very, very quickly if you can stay disciplined, over
Mm.
a month, 2 months, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, and that becomes a habit. It becomes a routine, and the mental side of stuff, man, that's where everything starts, right? The mental side of stuff, your words, what you tell yourself. If you, like you said, Dylan, if you tell yourself you can't, you are not going to be able to. You are not going to be able to. If you tell
Well, like
yourself, go ahead, go ahead.
there's a really good quote on that. I've heard Will Smith say it. I don't know if he's the original person to say it or if it probably came before him, which I assume it did. But it's he who says he can and he who says he can't, both are usually right.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, I've
it's
heard that too. That's really,
whatever
really
you're
good.
telling yourself is usually correct.
Hmm.
So if you're convinced and telling yourself, I can't do that, I can't do that, I can't do that, you're probably not going to be able to do that because you've convinced yourself in your own mind that you are unable to do
Hmm.
something, even if you potentially could have been.
Hmm.
Um, but the person who continually says, no, I can do that, I can do that, I can do that, I might need to do things before I get there, but I know I can get there. Like,
Right.
that's just, again, another one of those mental barriers that people need to get over. And you touched briefly on discipline, and I
Hmm.
think that goes hand in hand with
Hmm.
visualization. So
Hmm.
it's all well and good to positively visualize something, but if you don't have the discipline to put the steps in place and the actions in place that are going to get you to that end goal that you're visualizing,
Hmm.
then the visualization doesn't work on its own.
Yep.
Because if you have big dreams, you need to have discipline to be able to get to that point as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I want to touch on two things, man. One is another quote from Susan L. Taylor. and that says, "Whatever we believe about ourselves and our abilities comes true for us." So if we
Mm,
believe, it's very similar. If we believe, hey, I can't do that. I can't do that. You're not going to be able to do it. It's really as simple as that. And it sounds so simple. And when somebody else says it to you, it sounds so simple, but we do it all the time. We do it all the time to
mm,
ourselves. I know that I do that all the time. And I have to work on that positive reinforcement of I can do this. I can lift this. Why don't I just put that weight up 10 more pounds, 20 more pounds? Why don't
mm,
I just put another plate on that bar? You know what I mean? Um, yeah, that's huge. And the other thing, I mean, you talked about it a little bit earlier, but is surrounding yourself with a group of people. Maybe it's a gym partner, maybe it's just the community
mm,
at your gym. Man, small gyms are the way, man. Sometimes they don't
mm,
always have the
mhm,
equipment that you need, but I know that I can walk into my gym, or not even a small gym, but if you know some people at your gym, even if
mm,
you're in a big box, bigger gym, if you know some people at your gym, man, go up to those people and just say, "Yo, man, you're killing it," and then tell them again the next week because you guys are
mhm.
gonna be friends pretty quick. I mean, everybody there probably spends 10 hours a week at that gym, around 10 hours a week at that gym. And so go up to somebody, make some friends, create a community of people because that community is going to push you to be way better than you thought you could be. We were all before the Spartan race. We were in Arizona. We were at the motel, and we're all sitting in the hot tub. And my buddy Josh, he encouraged us all. He said, "Everybody, just close your eyes. It's the night before. We're all about to go to bed in like an hour." He's like, "Everybody just close your eyes." We had gone from the hot tub. We jumped in a cold pool. It was very cold outside. It was very cold outside nighttime in Phoenix. We jumped in the pool. Pool was very cold. Dunked our heads in. Went back into the hot tub. Went back into the pool. Went back into the hot tub. And he just said, "Everybody close your eyes and envision yourself climbing over the obstacles. Right? Envision yourself running through the desert of Arizona. Envision yourself climbing over the walls, climbing up the ropes, carrying the sandbags, and like getting across the finish line." Oh, it's time to wake up.
It's Kate. It's Caitlin. Caitlin's alarm. She
um,
got to get up for work.
uh, but yeah, it's when you got a group of people doing that, that can be super powerful. And some people might hear that and think that it's corny, but that can be a very powerful tool for you to use, especially when you're trying to overcome barriers, when you're trying to break PRs, right? Whether that's running,
Yeah.
whether that's lifting, like do that.
Yeah.
Do that. Get a group of people who have the same goals as you, and you're gonna
Mm.
see immense progress. I promise you. I promise you.
Mm. Well, it's the same reason that you and I sit down and have discussions about this and where we want to take
Mhm.
this. Like
Yep.
we have a vision of where we want to
Mhm.
take this podcast and where we want to take this movement that we've
Mhm.
created in day zero. The reason you and I sit down regularly is to one, make sure we're on the same page,
Mhm.
two, discuss where we want to be and how we're going to get there. And, I know we're going to sit down after this and have another one of these conversations to be like, all right, we've been off for a couple of weeks. Let's refocus. Let's get back on content. Let's get back on weekly podcasts. Let's get back to what we need to be doing to get to our goals, essentially, to get to where we want to be. The reason we do that is so that we can hold each other accountable. That if, I guess, one of our disciplines slips
Mhm.
up, the other one's there to pull it back in and be like, hey, like, I need those podcast episodes so I can put them on Spotify. Or hey,
Mhm.
no clips have gone up on TikTok in 4 days. Like, let's put something up.
Yeah,
Like, it's
absolutely.
it's it's not from a like boss perspective. Like, hey, I need you to do this. I need you to do this. It's like, no, like, it's, hey, you told me you want to make this into something.
Mhm.
I need this from you now. Like,
Exactly.
this is what I
Yeah.
need. And this has always been your idea and your dream. And when you brought me into it, I knew I could help and I've
Mhm.
wanted to help because
Mhm.
it is something that I'm interested in and I want to see you succeed. So
Mhm.
when I heard you talk about it the first time, I could tell that the passion was there to do this and turn it into
Mhm.
something. So I was like, all right, I'm like, I want to help you. And it's
Mhm.
something where my knowledge of social media, I would say, outweighs yours.
Yeah.
In
Not
terms
for
of growing an online social presence. I've done it
Yeah.
so many times before with multiple different accounts. Like,
Mhm.
knowing that you just needed someone who knew that side of things to make this into what you need to make it into.
Right.
I was easily up for helping. Like, straight
Mhm.
away, I was like, yeah, of course. I was
Mhm.
like, you have a sick idea, a sick name, a vision,
Mhm.
a vision of where you wanted to be.
Mhm.
And, you visualized the, not so much the end result, but where you wanted to see this go,
Mhm.
essentially,
Mhm.
and continue to grow past. Like,
Mhm.
I remember the first day you told me about this and the day you came up with the name. I was literally like, I know exactly where I was. I was walking home from a bus stop on my way
Uh-huh.
back to my place near the beach. Like,
Huh.
I was on my AirPods talking to you through Discord on my phone, which
Mhm.
probably sounded horrendous.
I was
Uh,
driving to
yeah,
drill
yeah,
at 3 o'clock in
exactly.
the morning.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you were driving to drill
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
thinking about day zero when you
Mhm.
were going to, you know, something completely different.
Mhm.
And as soon as we had that conversation, I was like, I'm in. Before you even
Yeah.
finished talking, I was like, I'm in, because
Right. Right.
I could see your vision and I could see myself in that vision helping you get there.
Mhm.
Which is why I was so quick to say yes, because
Mhm.
one, you're my best friend. Of course, I'm going to help you. And two, this is something we're both passionate about in fitness.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
three, like, I know you can fucking do this.
Oh yeah.
But sometimes there's a huge advantage to having someone that knows what they're doing with social media. You
Mhm.
know, even just in the small time that we've been doing this already, like, you think about the couple of posts that have gone up on TikTok. I
Mhm.
don't imagine you would have imagined some of those got nearly 2,000 views, or a
No.
couple hundred views here and there with no
Yeah.
followers. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, with
Right.
like four followers on the account, or
Mhm.
10 followers, or whatever it is, 11
Mhm.
followers now. To be able to get those views and get us in front of an audience is something that you may not have thought about in the beginning, but I had the mindset of no, no, no. Like, we'll
Mhm.
get it. We'll
Mhm.
get people like seeing this. People will watch this. People will um, stop on these videos and watch them enough. And that comes from my experience of growing fresh accounts, whereas you haven't
Mhm.
had so much of an experience like that. That you may have had some sort of doubts in the beginning, but you knew I was in a position to help with that.
Mhm.
So you were like, right away, you were like, yeah, sweet. Like, if you want to help out, like, social media would be the place to do it. You even said, like, the training side and the business side, like, you're happy to take care of that. But the social media side, you just weren't aware of how it operates and how to grow
Mhm.
that, which
Mhm.
again is why, I was so happy to come on board and do this with you, because your visualization sees this at one point,
Mhm.
and having the two of us working together towards that is what's going to
Mhm.
make it successful and get to that end goal, or that dream, or that visualization that you've seen in your head as well. So
Mhm. Yeah, man. When I first of all, those are amazingly beautiful and kind words. I appreciate all those words for sure.
hurt you.
Much love, man. Much love, man. Oh, Blanket News.
Like the
What's good?
news.
What's good?
Let's go.
Um, yeah, man. One thing about that is I had an idea. I have a vision, right? I need to bring people in who are smarter than me, better than me in different areas, unless it's never going to live up to what it could be. And I've thought of you immediately. I thought of you
Mm,
first. I was like, I need you. I need what you've done. Also, we've been friends for a long time, so of course I'm going to bring bring you onto this idea. You know what I mean? But
mhm,
um, that's where I was like, you've got the drive, the passion, the knowledge. Um, to do it, man. And so that's where you are the expert in that, and you bring so much to the table, and that's why I love having you here, and that's why I love that we're building this together, and um, it bleeds into other areas of your life, right? That
yeah.
that like it's not just the gym. right? It's a lot more than the gym, and that's why I try and stress on people that it's a human experience, and what we do, that's the foundation. That's the foundation. We can get into the technical stuff, and we will get into the technical stuff, but the foundation of what we do is very human, very human. You got to be very present with yourself in the gym, right? You can't just go in there and lackluster, and some days will be like that for sure. But if
Mm,
you want to make real progress, like you got to be really present with yourself, and you got to be able to lock into that mindset. And I guarantee you that people, I'm not somebody who has some crazy accomplishments right now or anything like that, but I guarantee you that people who do, the Tom Brady's, the LeBron James of the world, the Bill Belichick's of the world, those people have locked into some killer mindsets that have
mm,
allowed them to grow and succeed, that were more disciplined, stronger, and more driven than other people's. And that starts with maybe visualizing something that you aren't able to do, right?
mm.
Maybe you aren't able to push that weight on the bench. Maybe you look at that leg press and you say, "Whoa, I don't know if I can put 5 plates, 6 plates, 7 plates, 8 plates on that." But you try it and you think about it and you imagine yourself in that situation. You do it anyways because that's how you push past barriers. That is
Mm,
how you push past barriers. And when you can surround yourself with people like I've surrounded myself with you, you surrounded with me, when you can surround yourself with people who are doing the same thing, that's how you start to make progress. That's when you get into
mm,
the science. That's when you're able to get in the mindset of, okay, I got this. I'm locked in, right? That's what I want to see when people walk into the gym and I do a session with them, right? That's what I love to hear on onboarding calls when people are like, yes, it's time, right? It's
mm.
time. It's time to do this now. I had a buddy text me yesterday. I'm super excited. I got a call with him later. He said, it's time for me to do an Ironman. I
Oh
said,
yeah,
okay. I said, yes. I said, I'm in.
yeah,
I'm in.
yeah,
Let's do it. Let's talk. Let's start, in 2 days. Let's do it.
mm,
Amazing.
yeah,
Um, and when you can lock into that mindset and develop that within yourself, you're gonna see just so much return. So
mm,
much return. Your ROI, if you will be all the way
yeah,
up there. Such a
yeah,
such a fantastic mindset to have, and having a coach, having a personal trainer, having a friend, right, who can lock into that mindset with you and kind of walk with you in that journey.
mm,
Maybe it's a partner, maybe it's a wife, maybe it's with your kid, right? Uh, it doesn't have to be a solo thing, right? Lifting, working out, doing all this, right? It could be a community thing, and I think that's one of the most beautiful things about the fitness world is that like everybody has the mindset of let's get better, today, let's get better together, and visualization is the epitome of that.
mm,
And if you close your eyes when you wake up in the morning, you fall right back asleep, then that's on you. That's not on us.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Um, but yeah, it's about thinking about that bench press. So when you lay down on that bench, you're ready to fucking push, man. You're ready to push. And it's important. It's important to be in the right environment. It's important to push yourself hard. It's important to work hard, right? And sometimes to do that on days when you don't feel like it, uh,
mm,
it's to just tell yourself you are. Tell yourself I'm gonna go work hard, right?
yeah. But like the thing too, like you talk about being in the right environment. Sometimes that's not possible either. So if you're not in the right environment, you need to be in the mindset
Mm-hmm.
to get yourself out of that environment. It's the age
Mm-hmm.
old story of people that grow up in bad situations and get themselves out and
Mm-hmm.
go on to do extremely incredible and successful things. Like
Mm-hmm.
that would not happen without some sort of positive reinforcement and visualization. Like you
Mm-hmm.
think LeBron, for example, the bro grew up in Akron, Ohio, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Like you think he was doubting himself? Do you
Mm-hmm.
think LeBron would have been the player he is today? He would have been that good in high school and he would have made it to the league if he didn't take it seriously.
Mm-hmm.
If he just thought, I
But
grew up in Akron, I'm not doing nothing. Like I'm
mhm,
not, if he had that too cool mindset. No, dude.
mhm,
Like if you've watched more than a game,
mhm,
you know how much LeBron busted his ass. But not
mhm,
only did he do that, he made his teammates be better. He almost forced his teammates to be better. Like
mhm,
the Fab Five that he grew up with, they had to play to his level. They had to train to his level. And it's the same thing you hear with Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant would not pass players the ball in practice if he did not think they were working hard enough. Like, if you're not in the best situation, you can still get out of that. You can still, make your way out from whatever situation you're in if you have the mental fortitude to do it. Like, you have to see yourself getting to that end result, understanding what steps it takes to get to that end result, and then having the discipline to put the steps in action to actually get yourself there. But I guess, again, like another really good example of visualization is the movie Coach Carter. You've seen it, right?
I don't think I have.
Okay. So Coach Carter basically comes to a high school basketball team, and please watch this, by the way, because you'll be blown away, based on a true story. Comes to a high school basketball team that won like 4 games the previous season, like 22 loss. I think it's 4 games wins, 22 losses the previous season. Comes to school in a bad area. The kids are bad, probably not going to graduate, don't go to class. They're going to probably end up on the street or in jail, and says to them, if you want to play on this basketball team, you have to uphold the terms and conditions of a contract. And he has his own contract that he's drafted. And his whole thing is, you must attend all classes. You sit in the front row of your classes. You must be 5 minutes early to practice. Otherwise you're late. You need to behave like a champion, essentially, is his whole contract. Is you need to put yourself in the best position to get to the end goal, because his end goal is to get them out of high school into college and away from the town that they're in, because it's obviously a rough area. So, it takes a little bit of convincing, but once they commit to, upholding the terms of the contract, they go undefeated for like the whole first 6 months of the season or whatever. Like, they're like 13-0 or something at the start of the season, because he's a great coach, but he's also got them in the mindset of like, you get to become winners. Because one of the questions that comes up in the movie from one of the players is, do I get a signing bonus with this contract? Like, he's trying to be a smart ass. He's like, do I get a signing bonus? And he goes, yes, you do. You get to start winning. Like, he knows in his in his mind that if you commit to these things, we're going to start winning. So his visualization is, I see you at the state championship, which they never thought was possible. But the influence of him on his team after the first few games when they were winning had them convinced that they could go and play in the state championship. So, his teaching of them to visualize where they want to be, and his teaching and his belief in them that they could be at that state championship convinced them. And once they were convinced too, they started winning. Yeah. And they went like 13-0 to start the season. Then all of a sudden he got their grades back, and all of them were failing. So they were playing well, training hard, but none of them were going to class. So what did he do? He locks the gym. Puts a lock on the gym. You can't go and play ball. You can't practice. Games got canceled, so they forfeited games. So their undefeated record was gone. So they ended up like 13-2. And it wasn't until there was like a PTA meeting or something where they forced him to unlock the gym. But at that point, when they were forced to unlock the gym, the athletes themselves had realized what he was trying to do for them. And they had left practice, not gone to practice, and gone to the library instead to get their grades up, because they had realized that he's trying to help them get out of the hood. So it's a powerful movement of, they were convinced that he was trying to help him, and they wanted to show the whole town that they know why he's doing what he's doing. And it's their fault that they fucked up with their grades. So they're going to put a commitment and a visualization to be in college. Do you know what I mean? And when you see it in the players' minds, like as they start to go through the movie, like they realize like, shit, I could go to college. I could go and get a degree. I could play ball up there. I could go and do like, which is stuff that they never thought possible before. And that just shows that having a positive impact in your life somewhere can progress you into something you didn't even think was possible. Which, is why you said, like you said, you need to surround yourself with the right people. Otherwise you're just going to either stay where you are or go downhill. So
Yeah. But I love that you said too that like sometimes you don't have the right people just wherever you're at in life or whatever
mm,
stage you're at in life. Like sometimes the right people just aren't around all the time, you know? Sometimes it comes down to what you do, what you say to yourself at 5:30 in the morning, or what you say to yourself at 10 o'clock at night when you still got to go to practice, or you still got to work on your free throw, or you still got to run those routes. Like, man, e- sometimes it's up to you. You know what I
mm,
mean? And those are the real tests, right? Right when it's up to you, and you got to work on that. You got to work
mm,
on that over time. And like you said as well, it's not just a fitness thing. This whole conversation with my buddy Josh started as a business conversation and transformed into a fitness conversation with me and you because it's important to understand, right? It's important to understand how to do that, how to do that. And there's a lot of different things online. Like anybody listening, I encourage go online, look up any kind of priming, right? Any kind of visualization techniques, things like that. But it's really as easy as, and we've touched on this before, and I want to continue to preach this. It's really as easy as closing your eyes in the morning, right? Or just thinking about it, going for a walk and thinking about it, right? Get some sun, get some fresh air. Think about how that gym session is going to go, right? Think about how you're going to
mm,
feel in a week, 2 weeks, a month when you show up to that family gathering and you feel way better, right? And people are complimenting you. They say, wow, you look amazing, right? Think about those feelings, think about those times and how that's going to feel to you.
mm,
And bring that energy into the gym. Bring the energy into the gym. Bring it onto the court. Bring it onto the pitch. Right. That's 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 the whole deal. And you're going to outshine a lot of people. And it's not always about outshining people, but that's how it's going to feel. And we've talked about this before, but one of the one of the goals of day zero training and the way that we approach fitness is that you become a champion of your own life, right? You
yeah.
become a champion of your own life in every single way, from being able to play with your kids, right, to winning the Super Bowl, right? That's the goal, right? Um, and so this is how it starts. It starts with the words that you say to yourself. It starts with the images you place in your own head, right? It starts with the control that you take over your own life, right? And that stuff's really important.
Mm,
That's the baseline, right? That's the baseline of what day zero is. We're talking about now. You can get after it right now, right?
mm.
Imagine yourself doing push-ups and then like you said, go do it. Imagine yourself doing push-ups, then do some push-ups. You don't even have to imagine yourself doing push-ups,
You
right?
don't have to have to move. You can just
You don't even have
drop
to move.
down and
You
start
just
doing them.
do some squats, do some push-ups. Like visualization, like everything. We'll say this now, we'll say it for years to come. It's a tool in a toolbox. And it's a powerful one. It's a very, very powerful one. So when you need to break PRs, right? When you need to run faster, when you need to move quicker, when you need to cut faster, when you whatever you're doing in whatever sport you're living or whatever life you live, visualize some of that. Visualize that progress and watch yourself become and mold into a different version of yourself. I think it's possible, man, and I implement this kind of stuff into people's training programs, and it works, bro. It works. I promise you. I promise you, it works. It sounds corny, but it's not. It's
Mm,
really not, man. Because the people that we look up to in the fitness world, those are the people who are doing this kind of shit, man.
yeah.
So, and there's studies on it too, and I would love to dive into that maybe in the future of some more studies and stuff like that. We touched on that today. Again, if you guys want to check that out, that's the by Janet Hines and Zach Turner, Positive Visualization. It's its effects on strength training. In the first few pages, I just wanted to touch on this because you kind of touched on like, well, there is a lot more science behind it. You can read more about neurotransmitters and axon development and how that affects muscle activation and neurotransmitters. And if you guys want to learn more about activation, we have a great podcast on that. We'll be talking about that more in the coming weeks. I want to start getting into more specifics, specific lifts, specific days, how to approach those days, get into a little more technical knowledge, right?
Mm,
Than we have in some of these initial episodes. But just like we approach training, we want to lay a foundation for what's good, right? When we get to that gym, when we show up onto the field. Dylan, any last thoughts on visualization?
Yeah, I mean, just doubling down on what you said essentially is it's a tool in your toolbox. Like if you're not using it, then you're throwing it away, and you're basically wasting an opportunity to progress yourself further. If it comes down to the old, if you don't believe you can do something, then you're not ever going to achieve it. Like you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So it's important to understand that visualization, most people think it's corny, but like it actually can help you. And I think that's one thing that when you start practicing visualization, you understand just how effective it can be.
Right.
Um, and knowing, like I said earlier, the discipline and the steps that need to be taken to get to your visualized goal as well. So they work hand in hand, because you can lay in bed all day going, I'm going to be successful, I'm going to be successful, I'm going to be successful. If you don't get off your ass and do anything, then it's not going to work.
Mm-hmm.
You're not
Right.
just going to like do nothing and become successful. Like you need to pair it with, action. And if you don't pair it with action, you're not going to get any results. So,
Yep.
as powerful as visualization can be, there is more to it. And I think people just need to keep that in mind, that if you don't get up every day motivated to do what you need to do, or do what you want to do to get towards the goal that you're dreaming of, then you're not going to get there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's on you. Like you need to either find out something else that you're passionate about that you're going to go after, or reassess and be like, why am I not feeling motivated to do this? Or why am I not staying disciplined enough to do this? Then reassess, like
Mm-hmm.
find your new thing or find that thing. It's one of those reasons why people tell you don't start a YouTube channel on something you're not passionate about, because you'll give up.
Mm-hmm.
When your first 20 videos get 0 views, you will give up.
Mm-hmm.
If it's something you're not passionate about. But if it's something that you love and you believe in and that you
Mm-hmm.
enjoy doing, you're going to just keep working through that. You might go 20, 30, 40 videos with barely any views, and then all of a sudden something goes and you're like, oh shit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And that's legitimately what happened to me with Star Wars. Like if I didn't have a genuine love and passion for Star Wars, when my
Mm-hmm.
first few videos got like 1 view, 2 views, which were probably me on my phone checking it,
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be where I am today with nearly 50,000 subscribers on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I didn't really care and enjoy it, I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't have pursued it,
Yeah.
but there was a reason I stuck with it. There was a reason that I ended up being successful in it, because I took the steps needed to get to my goal. And that's kind of
Mm-hmm.
where we are now.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there's more to visualization than just thinking you're going to be successful. But
Mm-hmm.
if you take all the right steps, man, there's no reason you can't be.
Yeah. And I love that you touched on that, because a coming podcast episode, we're going to talk about the science of accountability and why it's so important, like we've been talking about in this episode, to take the next step. And there's like real implications and like real things going on in your mind, to be disciplined and accountable for yourself. I'm sure that there's a lot more information on this topic, visualization. I'm sure that like the Huberman Lab podcast and everybody has a lot of deep dives into what this stuff is. I know we
Mm.
can't go for as long as a lot of those podcasts, but I encourage you to do more research on this. Check out more stuff. We're gonna come back next week. Next week we're gonna do that. The science of accountability. We're gonna talk
Mm.
about that. We're gonna talk about, I think, a couple of lifts next week as well. Maybe choose one lift and kind of focus on that a little bit. But yeah, Dylan, I love all those words. I love everything you've said throughout this whole podcast. Look, you guys, another week, episode 10. Come on now, episode 10. That's
Hell
sweet.
yeah.
Visualization. Thank you, Ozzy. Thank you, Blaker Dudes, for jumping in. We appreciate you
Appreciate y'all.
and watching it up. We love you guys, man. We love you guys. We've been moving around, dates, times, everything like that. We're not super consistent right now just because of work and everything like that. But hey, we're getting it done.
We're
We
back.
love this stuff. We love you guys. We want to talk about this stuff. So next week we're going to be talking about the science of accountability. We're going to be talking about a couple of lifts as well, and we'll let you guys know what those are kind of midway through the week. Not sure on an exact date yet next week, but we'll get it figured out.
Mm.
We're posting great clips on TikTok. Dylan is killing it over there. There's great stuff happening over there. So go ahead, go
Mhm.
on TikTok, check out the podcast clips that we're posting over there. Dylan, you've got great stuff going on over there.
Appreciate it.
On Instagram as well. today we're streaming on YouTube, X, and Twitch. So whatever platform is easiest for you guys, if you guys want to check us out there, we're also there on Spotify. Everybody knows Spotify. I don't really need to explain that platform. Anything else, man? Anything else you got?
Nah, just obviously, like, to help out, leave reviews, drop a like, whatever platform you're on. Like, Spotify is huge on 5-star reviews. They're pushing your podcast out to more people. So if anyone does listen to the audio version, it would be appreciated. Keep social posts coming soon. Plenty of good snippets from this episode that will go up throughout the week on TikTok once we get all that clipped down. Just stay tuned. Appreciate all the support. You guys are awesome. And we'll see you in the next.
Yeah, we'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Much love. Peace.